"'Tis well," said the abbé, convinced by his manner and tone that Caderousse spoke the truth. "'Tis well, and may this money profit you. Adieu. I go far from men who thus so bitterly injure each other." The abbé with difficulty got away from the enthusiastic thanks of Caderousse, opened the door himself, got out and mounted his horse, once more saluted the innkeeper, who kept uttering his loud farewells, and then returned by the road which he had traveled in coming. When Caderousse turned around, he saw behind him Carconte, paler and trembling more than ever. "Is, then, all that I've heard really true?" she inquired. "What? That he has given the diamond to us only?" inquired Caderousse, half bewildered with joy. "Yes, nothing more true. See, here it is." The woman gazed at it a moment, and then said in a gloomy voice, "Suppose it's false." Caderousse started and turned pale. "False," he muttered. "False. Why would a man give a false diamond? To get your secret without paying for it, you blockhead." Caderousse remained for a moment aghast under the weight of such an idea. "Ugh," he said, taking up his hat, which he placed on the red handkerchief tied around his head. "We will soon find out." "In what way?" "Why, the fair is on at Beaucaire. There are always jewelers from Paris there, and I will show it to them. Look after the house, wife, and I shall be back in 2 hours." And Caderousse left the house in haste, and ran rapidly in the direction opposite to that which the priest had taken. 50,000 francs, muttered Carconte when left alone. "It is a large sum of money, but it is not a fortune." All right, I don't know what to make of Caderousse's wife. Maybe I've just had my brain demented by too many silent films. She's calling him a blockhead. Just kind of paints out this picture of the housewife in hair rollers with a rolling pin yelling at the man to get off his ass and get a job or whatever. And then at the end there, it is a large sum of money, but it is not a fortune. Count your blessings a little bit here. You're sick, and if it is 50,000 francs, then, you can maybe get some medical treatment. That would be good. Whatever. I'm not out for her. Why? She's had a pretty shitty life with Caderousse here, so I don't know. Just I don't know what Dumas is doing with that character. It's very confusing to me. But she did introduce an interesting idea, didn't she? That, is this real? Is this what... Now, okay, this almost seems more brutal if it is true than Dante just doing a swift death to Caderousse. Is this diamond real? Do you think this is a fake diamond? Is that his vengeance on Caderousse? I'm going to ply you with false promises of getting you out of destitution, that you can help your wife, that you can get back to some place of semblance that you were in society before this. And then just have those hopes dashed when you realize it's just a piece of glass. I mean, that seems pretty damn cruel, but it's also not murder, is it? I mean, it's kind of murdering his soul. If Faria put into Dante's mind all the good you can do in the world, and Dante's thinking of all the bad he can do to his enemies, he's ready to commit murder to escape the prison, and Faria's like, no, I would rather stay in prison forever than kill someone to get out. Does Dante have some sort of unspoken promise to Faria that he's never going to kill someone or use his wealth to end someone's life? And so this is how he does it? Where do you think we're just going to go into chapter 28 following Caderousse as he learns whether or not this is a glass diamond? Just such a tangent from the story. But since we're at the end of this chapter, let's just do a little recap of where Caderousse has placed all of the characters on the chessboard that Dante is now going to go pursue. Okay, let's run down the list here. Daddy Dante, deceased. We've got our little Batman computer monitor in front of us, and we're pulling up all the headshots of all the characters, and we got Daddy Dante and the big deceased, big red deceased letters stamp his headshot. Okay, moving on. Caderousse. Okay, there's a little green check mark next to him. We just talked to him. Who's next? Monsieur Morel. Let's talk about him. Close to destitution, filed for bankruptcy multiple times, has a family. Still in charge of the Pharaon, in fact, it being the only vessel left to his name that could potentially turn his life around. Okay, that is a very tasty thread that we can start to pull on if Dumas decides to go in that direction. Who else do we have? We have Danglars, we got I feel like the least amount of Danglars in this story today. He started working for a banker and made his fortune through a widow and married into more money, basically. So he's got wealth. I didn't get a sense of his position in life. Last known appearance, Spain. Again, this is up on our monitor. Okay, and then Fernand, we just went through all of those on him. He is now a high-ranking military commander. He is imbued with immense wealth. He is married to Mercedes, who we'll get to in a second. He was terrified of Edmund's return. I would imagine after 15 years now, that fear has probably subsided a little bit. Though, is it always going to be a ghost that haunts him? At any point, they're living in Paris. So already we've got Spain, we got Paris, and I would assume, I can't remember if it was stated, but I would assume that Morel is still operating the Pharaon out of Marseille. And then, of course, the last on our monitor here is Mercedes. And then we go to Mercedes, who is with Fernand in Paris, with their son, little Albert, just making their way in the world today up there. Last on our monitor is Villefort. Whereabouts unknown. He got married to Mademoiselle de Saint-Méran, that wealthy family that, he was at his betrothal feast at the same time that Dante was. They ended up getting married, despite the will they, won't they of the 100 days and the changing of the, monarchy guards. Sounds like they got married. Then they picked up and moved out of town, out of Marseille. Who knows where they are now? So big question mark over Villefort's face. We don't know anything about him. Who does? I bet Morel does. So, okay, let's now step into Dante's shoes. Where do we go from here? If you were Dante, which of these folks do you go and see next? Who is he prepared to go see? And, well, let me rephrase that, because my brain's going in two directions. One is, who is he, physically, with resources prepared to go see? And the other is, who is he emotionally prepared to go see? Dramatically, if I'm Dumas, I'm gonna save Fernand and Mercedes for last. I think maybe not. Maybe Villefort is last, or maybe it's simultaneous. I don't know. Okay, I'm getting very distracted and off topic here. Let's get back. Who's he going to next? If I had to hedge my bets with any of these folk, I'm gonna say he's going to Morel next. That seems like a pretty unemotional next thing. He can express his gratitude. He can do a little good service. Obviously, Morel did a lot for him, did a lot for his father, paid for his father's funeral, and knowing that Morel is in a place that he could benefit some benevolence, I'm going to assume that's where Dante's going next. But there's only one way to find out, and that's to keep reading here tomorrow as we go right into chapter 28. You know how we do here. We don't stop. But I do stop at the end of each chapter to tell you about the Patreon. That's right, the Patreon for our podcast network, Gruntwork Podcasts, which you can access over at patreon.com/gruntworkpod. The link is in today's show notes, as it is in all show notes. And for as little as $1 per month, that is only 3 cents per episode, you can get access to story-only audio at the end of every chapter. So as of today, chapter 27, as well as chapters 1 through 26, are available over at Patreon for you to listen to without my commentary. So if you just want the audiobook, you can keep up with the story that way. I've heard people talk about falling behind on a daily podcast. Listen, I don't blame you. It's a lot. Even I can't keep up sometimes. So in order to stay up to date, they will listen to the story-only audio and then get caught back up with the daily podcast. How you want to listen to the show is your business, and I'm just here to provide you some resources to do that. I'm just glad you're here day after day. So if you can contribute as little as $1, but as much as you want, you can do that over at patreon.com/gruntworkpod. You can also support the show by leaving a rating, a review over at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or on YouTube, and subscribe there. Because when you do that, that is elevating, it's giving value to the show in this kind of amorphous algorithm that affects all of our lives. How do we find content? It is recommending related content based on things you listen to, things you're interested in. So if you give some activity there, it's going to show that there is value to this thing, i.e. this podcast, and recommend it to people that like related content. It's really come to me explaining how algorithms work in order to really try to convince you to go and leave a rating and review over there. I'm going to say, it's far after spooky season at this point, but my wager's still out there. The second that we get 5 reviews on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere, I will do another short story reading on the Patreon. I was suggesting it was going to be Edgar Allan Poe's Premature Burial, but that was going to be during spooky season. As we are heading into the holiday season, I can do a different one. I could do a ghost story for Christmas, the way that the BBC tradition is. I could do any number of things, but you tell me what you would like, and you can get access to those, as I said, over at patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Lastly, also, if you want to tell someone about the show, I really appreciate it. When you actually recommend this directly to someone, they're more likely to listen. And then once they listen, it's my job to keep them hooked. So send them this episode, send them the podcast feed, send them the website. It will absolutely help to get more listeners. And then lastly, I want to hear from you over on the Discord, which is free for anybody to join. It's just a place where we can have conversations about this story, about this podcast, other things you're listening to, other things you're reading. I want to hear from you. I had a lot of questions in this chapter. I'm not an expert on a lot of these things. You can correct me. You can really help shape the path forward over the next 4 years. I've already seen from the folks who are there in the Discord giving me information that I wouldn't have stumbled upon my own in regard to translations and things like that. So I really look forward to seeing you there. Again, the link is in the show notes. They're in the show notes of every single episode. So until tomorrow, when we jump right into chapter 28, you know where I'll be. It's right here. Okay, goodbye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.